you know? But that what Reich says is that is the problem. It's one of the problems is that in America, we don't acknowledge a class structure here. I'm on page 100. Here, opulences provoke more ambition and hostility. In this respect, we're different from older cultures with feudal origins and long histories of class conflict. For most Americans, the rich have not been them. Instead, they're the people we aspire to become. You know, in other words, part of it is, well, don't tax the rich because that might be me. So that's, you know, I don't know if these talking points are what interested you, but I'll just let you loose.
I think that might go back to the American dream. The whole like idea that you can come to this country with, you know, $5 in your pocket and then own a house and all the other stuff. I think that's that mentality that we've always, you can do anything you want, and all of us like want to be rich. Like nobody wants to be poor or middle class. You want to be able to buy whatever you want. So I think it's maybe more of a that is kind of more of a sociological like norm that we've almost gotten into.
I shouldn't be talking too much, and I'm thinking, Eric, of something I think you said last semester about Socrates. Okay, maybe you want to answer, because maybe not everybody wants to be rich.
Yeah, it was basically the idea of like, why do we put so much emphasis on material gain when like maybe that's not the key to human life, like of material gain. Yeah.
And in fact, as we move to our end, that what she's going to say is, that's not what makes us feel good. And in fact,
No,
Reich is saying that too.
There's a study in there that says, that they talk about what actually makes people happy. And like, you know, having food and home and stuff like that's definitely there.
But
the
I
things
think
that are most fulfilling are things that we can't buy, like self-fulfillment, what your life has become, like things that we can't go and buy.
Or that there's diminishing returns, like after you buy that third car, the fourth one, it
Yeah,
just
I was
doesn't
talking
look
about the
good.
guy's 757, it's like, he got a really good feeling out of his first 757, but you know, I bet his second one wasn't as
Yeah.
That's a good point, though.
gratifying. But like, you want him to buy that second one and a third one.
Yeah.
Like, that's his point, is like, you want them to spend their money, even though you kind of like
But I
judge
don't
them
even
for
know-
spending their money as well.
I don't even know if it's that so much. What I think is like we all know, like there's that cliche, there's that saying, you know, money can't buy you happiness. Like we all know that, like going to the park and like being with your family, those are the things that fulfill people. But I still think as a culture or just a country in general, we still have this idea, like you were talking about, that could be us one day. And even I don't even think it's a consciousness or it's a conscious thing. And I think that might be.
Well,
I think it's pretty
It's,
I don't think so,
I
because
think
I
it
don't
is
like,
a
I don't
conscious
necessarily
thing.
sit here and think about being rich, and like, for me, like, I'd rather have like a flat tax or whatnot, like what makes sense, but
You would have a what?
a flat tax.
Oh, flat.
No, that tends to be for people that do want to be rich.
Because then when they get rich, they don't have to pay.
Well, no, actually, the flat tax, we don't need to get into it, but I just think it's,
this is,
I think it's like the
applies
American
to
dream,
what
I
we're
think
talking
is.
about. It's, you know, a lot of marks, but, there's a quote, men with great economic power.
Page, number, page.
Oh, sorry, it's 14.
Yes?
That's okay. I should be used to it, but.
Page number.
It says, men with great economic power had an undue influence in making the rules of the economic game, in shaping the actions of government that enforce those rules, and in conditioning the attitude taken by people as a whole towards those rules. And I think, and then it goes on to say, one of the country's most powerful economic leaders concluded that the economic game was not being played on a level field. It was tilted in favor of those with the most wealth and power. I think the problem with the American dream is that it does seem so real to all of us, but in fact, the reason why we think those things is because the upper class controls our consciousness, because they control like the playing field. So we think that we all have the same opportunities. We think one day we're going to be rich, and we think these are all achievable because they want us to think that. If we didn't think that, there would be no economy. because we wouldn't continue to work 3 jobs if we knew we were never going to be richer than what we were right now. We would just be happy with the 1 job we worked and the meager lifestyle that we lived. It's that they want us to think that we all have that fair chance, and I think that's where the problems come in, because we don't. So we just work ourselves to death and then find out the game is rigged. So I do think it's very, very conscious. I think we all want that, but I think it's a problem of where that consciousness is coming from.
Do we want super wealth?
That's what I was thinking, cause like, I don't know, like both of my parents have came from like nothing to like, they're like upper middle class, and so like, but I believe that like, you know, the attainability of the American dream, but I think it's like we just aim to have like these really high ambitions, but I think it's doable, but I think we've been told like you can't be Steve Jobs, or you can't be.
You can't.
You could be like Steve Jobs and be super rich, I don't know, I'm kind of.
Or Bill
floppy,
Gates.
or Bill Gates, but I don't know, it's hard to tell.
They're like the anecdotal evidence that's always, whenever anybody tries to say that the American dream doesn't exist, then they always come up, it seems like, well, what about Bill Gates, and what about these people? Well,
And
how
Jeremy
many,
Lin, right?
yeah, how many of them were really around?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
smallest percent ever.
And also, like, I think for the people that do come up, there's exceptions to every rule. It you know, it doesn't mean that nobody's gonna come up, otherwise that would, they wouldn't even be able to trick us into that.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have to have a few people come up from 0 to a ton of money, otherwise it's just not even realistic. So,
It happens.
it does happen, yeah, and I think that those exceptions, instead of being exceptions, they become the norm when
Yeah.
they are exceptions. So I think that's.
I think it's also like, we just, we're told it's easy, like we're told like with the $5 you can make it, but like it makes it like there's no struggle at all. But like it's actually really hard with $5.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like you just come to America and
It's
instantly
America.
have it,
It's
yeah.
like, yeah, no matter what amount of hard work you put in, you can't get that, you can reach that. But they always say, oh, without hard work and dedication and perseverance, anyone can become a millionaire. You know, you can become CEO of a company. But the truth is, the majority or vast majority of the people will never get the chance to do that, no matter how much hard work they put in. They have the circumstances they're in. They have to feed their family. They have to feed themselves. They have to get shelter. They can never rise above their situation.
You were just mentioning that before too. I remember the idea that like the lower class, their income goes directly to, it's like recycled. They don't get to save it and reinvest it. They have to spend it on sustenance and survival. And that's a disadvantage.
Something I wanted to discuss, I don't know if you guys want to, so last. Do you guys think we should discuss the specific ideas he had to make the country better? That's something that really interested me, like, just the last one chapter I thought was really interesting. And, you know, like, I think he had like 6, 7 ideas that would make it a lot better, like, the whole free tuition, or school vouchers.
Yes, give us some.
Yeah, it's a chapter
How it
on
could get
what
done.
we should do. No, sorry, the one before last. What should be done? And you'd be able to never file. Reverse income tax, that's a little crazy. So.
I talked a lot about, I think this is like taxing capital gains the same way as income tax. It's a horrible idea.
Yeah.
I'm not an economist.
I agree. I think it's crazy that, you know, once you make it to be as rich as Buffett, you know, you only have to pay like 15% of your tax.
What I thought was interesting was, I don't remember, sorry, where it was in the book, was when he said if we did tax the rich more, they would actually be making more money, because then it would be recycling through, and then like the middle class would be spending that money, and then it would be going towards them. Does anybody remember where that was in the book?
Well, think about Henry Ford, where he gave all of the workers an extra $5 and they ended up buying.
That's not
And they end up buying a car.
No, well, that's the idea of reinvesting the money.
Yeah.
And it's really up to a lot of people, because somewhat, like, you usually feel like a lot of if they're like the more conservative economists, they think that their own companies, or like the people who have the money, should be able to reinvest it how they want. But then someone like Reich, or anyone who's really a Keynesian, would think that the government should take it and they should be the ones that will reinvest the money. And so it just all depends on who you think should actually get the money to reinvest and how they're going to reinvest it.
Who you trust.
Who you trust, because the government can very easily waste a bunch of money, as we've all kind of seen. But just as easily, the big corporations can waste it, refuse it,
Send it
give
overseas.
gigantic bonuses to their own people. I
When you're
mean,
giving bonuses though, like, they'll spend it, it goes back
That's
to the
true.
economy.
That's the whole what Reich is saying though, that giving an extra $100 million to this one CEO, not only will he not spend it, but even if he spends it, he might spend it out of the country and offshore accounts. We read about how Romney, not to pick on somebody, but just somebody that everyone knows, has a bunch of many millions of dollars in offshore assets, so that it's not taxed here, you know. Whereas a family that makes $60,000, they're not going to spend a lot of it out of the country, so it will end up benefiting.
just thinking about that, if you were to distribute out all that money out to a bunch of families in the United States, what's to say they're not gonna reinvest it in something that was American made? What if they bought all Chinese products and it doesn't go back into our economy? It doesn't say that.
Are you
just
saying,
giving it to people.
are you saying Walmart won't make money? And even if you buy it